Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amna Khan. I'm an instructional designer at UOES, and I will be the moderator for this session. On behalf of the 2025 Rutgers University Online Learning Conference, I welcome Jackie Findra, who's an instructional designer at Rutgers School of Social Work, and Matt Cockrell, who is the Director of Instructional Design and Innovative Technologies, also at the School of Social Work. We are pleased to have them share their thoughts on how to implement and maintain a universal syllabus with DesignPLUS. During the presentation, please engage using the live chat session on the right-hand panel with any questions or comments. With that, I hand it over to our presenters.
Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone in the audience who chose to attend our session. We really appreciate it. So you've heard our introductions, but a little bit about us as a team. So we're the two of us comprise the instructional design team for the School of Social Work. And as such, we have some typical ID duties, which you can imagine. We advise and consult on new course developments and course refreshes throughout the curriculum. This includes a variety of course delivery methods. We have asynchronous online classes, synchronous online classes, and on-the-ground courses that we're involved in. So a pretty wide array of courses that we touch. In addition to these duties, we also staff a technical help inbox for our instructors. We have an email address where they can email questions that they have, and Jackie and I answer them as we can. But finally, and most importantly in terms of this presentation, one thing that we do is we manage the course copy process each semester. The course copy process, we utilize template shells in Canvas where we house the main contents of the course, and we use those to make changes and updates. We then push those template shells out to individual course sections that will be running live in that given semester. So in addition to managing this course content in Canvas, we also coordinate updating the syllabi for each of the courses. In other words, we make sure each and every course has a copy of the most up-to-date syllabi every term. The learning objectives for our presentation today, we have three. First, we'll highlight why course design, specifically consistent course design, is important for the student's learning experience and increasing engagement. Second, and what I think will be most interesting, will be demonstrating how the features of DesignPLUS can enhance usability within the Canvas LMS. And then finally, we hope to uncover some additional applications of how DesignPLUS templates could be used in other programs that are across campus. To get started, I want to highlight some of the research that informs why standardized course design matters. We know that design can affect outcomes. In fact, standardized course design enhances student outcomes. This is accomplished through a couple different ways. By reducing confusion and improving navigation, standardized course design reduces cognitive load, increases engagement, and enhances learning efficiency. As we heard in the keynote, cognitive load is increased when learners must find information in different places. Further, course design has an impact on student learning and success. By reducing the transactional distance and reinforcing expectations, standardized course design can make students feel more connected and help students succeed. So now kind of the background and the problem that we were facing when we chose to use DesignPLUS to do a universal syllabus. The School of Social Work is a very large program. We have a graduate, undergraduate, and even doctoral programs. We often have over 100 unique courses, and that can equal sometimes as many as 300 individual course sections offered in a given semester. As I mentioned earlier, the ID department oversees many different aspects for these courses. Our courses are all templated and copied by our department into live course shells for the instructors. Throughout the semester, we work with course coordinators to manage changes and updates to the content so that at the end of the process, our instructors are handed a Canvas shell specific to their course that's fully built out. The syllabi are shared in Canvas as downloadable Word documents that instructors can personalize and then upload back to Canvas for distribution to their students. One problem we were facing was simply the sheer number of syllabi that we're processing. As you can imagine, 100 unique courses are equal 100 unique syllabi. The syllabi were often lengthy too, in many cases at least 15 pages long. And some of that length was comprised by standardized policies and university resources for students. When working with these syllabi in Word, it can be pretty tough to find broken links and also how to catch those and fix those. Likewise, it's difficult to ensure all the policies that we're giving students for resources were up to date and not repetitive. So we have a couple goals for this project. Two different goals, one from each group of stakeholders. The administration of the school wanted to improve the accuracy of the policies that we were delivering and to make sure the resources were timely in that section of the syllabus. Also, the administration was interested in reducing the overall syllabus bloat. As instructional designers, we wanted a centralized solution to manage the standardized content across hundreds of syllabi that was something better than changing everything in Word every semester. So the solution we came up with was really a two-part syllabus model. And one part of that is what we're going to be presenting on today, which is the school-wide syllabus. It's centrally managed by us as the instructional design team inside of Canvas using DesignPLUS. The second part of the solution was to retain a course-specific syllabus. This course-specific syllabus is still a traditional Word document with details relevant to that individual course. Now, it doesn't need the policies and resources anymore, but it still has the rest of the content. The syllabus is still uploaded to Canvas as a Word document, and instructors can then download this syllabus to personalize it and re-upload to share with their students. And if you want to take over, Jackie, to tell us what DesignPLUS is.
Sure. So first, I just wanted to get a read of who we have in the room today. If you go over to the polls section underneath, kind of next to chat, there is a poll in there. If folks can tell us if you've heard of DesignPLUS, have you used it? Are you new to it completely? We'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And I'm not sure that I'm seeing any results. If you can see results, that would be super helpful. Can folks see the poll?
Yes, so I see 5 votes for I've heard of it and use it.
Okay, great.
3 for I've heard of it but not used it, and 4 for what's not where am I? Okay, no, they're increasing. Heard of it and used it are up to 6 now, and then what?
Okay.
4 for the other 2 categories.
Okay. Obviously, the last one was a little bit of humor. Hopefully, someone chuckled a little bit. So that's good. We do have a mix of folks in the room, so I won't, go past anything that might be useful to everyone. So basically, DesignPLUS is a City Labs plugin, and it has this toolbar. You'll see a little screenshot of the toolbar here on the screen, which I will screen share shortly and show you a little bit more about it and go through some elements. This is integrated within Canvas. If you do happen to be a Rutgers person, then we do have DesignPLUS as on the institutional level, so you should have access to this. You may just not know where to find it, which we will go over in a minute. This really provides the ability to easily build things out in Canvas with design elements that you might not know how to use. Or to build it otherwise. So it does a lot of the heavy lifting of design for you. We can go to the next one. All right, so at this point, right after I talk through these points, I will then screen share and we will go through a demonstration. But I'm going to be showing you our syllabus page, the before and after, so you can see where it started and where it has evolved to. As I said, we'll talk more about DesignPLUS and that toolbar, and then we'll get more into the nitty-gritty of how I designed our syllabus page within this extended customization site that controls templates for the School of Social Work within DesignPLUS. And then we'll look at two examples. The first is going to be how I built that syllabus page from an empty blank syllabus page using the templates, and then how we can edit our root template, which then will allow us to pull changes into all of the other places where that template exists in other course shells. So if you want to stop this share, Matt, I will now share my screen and we can look at this example. All right, so hopefully everyone can see this. We are looking at the City Labs page. If you wanted to learn more about DesignPLUS, this is what their branding looks like, how you spell it, all of that, so you can have a look around. But there also are places on the toolbar that will allow you to go and find tutorials about how to use it. So let's dive in to look at our syllabus page. So we're looking at an old syllabus page in one of our archive templates. And at first glance, it kind of looks all right. And you're like, it's deceptively good up front. And you can tell that this has been copy and pasted out of Word and into Canvas. Of course, we don't know if all of these headers are the appropriate headers, whether this is header 2 and this is header 3, and if they're nested properly for accessibility. It looks all right, but you will start getting into some things where you're like, well, why is this here? This is obviously a problem. This is not a table setup. It's going to make no sense to a screen reader. I know that after all of these readings, which the readings will change most semesters, so this would all need to be updated every single time. And then underneath that, we start getting into some real formatting problems down here. So this is probably a formatting issue on the Word document itself that then got pulled over into Canvas and was never changed. I know that this link is broken. So it's just kind of showing you all of the issues that we were finding with this design. And so then we went to streamline it significantly and took out all of that copy paste and went just to this very streamlined approach where we have just the name, the basic instructor information and course details, and then that download syllabus link, which would still link to this very long Word document that still may have problems, formatting issues, and broken links all over it. So still not the best, but after all of that ideation and creative thinking, we changed it over to look like this. So this is the outcome of using DesignPLUS. We obviously have a nicer looking page in that I was able to use some design elements to make it look cohesive and more inviting to the eye to want to read it. The top obviously has this little explainer so that students aren't confused about what they're approaching here. We've had this in use for, I think, about 3 semesters now. So at this point, students are more used to it. But when we first rolled it out, we just wanted to include this. Or if any students are new to the School of Social Work, we want to make sure that they are aware of what they're encountering here. We still have instructor information. We still have the course syllabus where they're going to download it in a Word document if they'd like. And then underneath here is the more real designed area, which is the school-wide syllabus. So this is where we have taken all of those policies that apply to all students and built them out into this, what we call an accordion menu here. So we've got all the participation policies for all of our types of programs, all organized very nicely with proper headings, so everything is accessible. We've made sure all of the links link on to text and are not raw links, and that is also good practice for general accessibility so that screen readers are not reading out a long link. They are instead knowing that this is a link and will tell the person using the screen reader exactly where it is going to go. We also have under here at the bottom a link that goes directly to a box file that is where students can download the entire school-wide syllabus, and it is kept updated whenever we make updates to any of this information up here. The good thing, of course, about using Box as the link here, this link will never change as long as I do not change the name of that file or move that file anywhere else. So whenever we are making updates, I will always just make sure to save a new version of that existing file, and the link will never change. So that stays in there. Now, let's talk a little bit about how we got here and how I'm able to use these templates and create these templates that I then import. So over here is our extended customizations site for School of Social Work. This is kind of like a special Canvas site that we got. Like I already knew how to use DesignPLUS. We approached folks higher up at in the Canvas administration gods of Rutgers, and they control these sites and can give you access to these sites that can then allow templates to be created, usually by instructional designers within a school or area. And then anyone who is under the sub-account for School of Social Work, so any instructor, faculty member, other designers within School of Social Work would have access to these templates when they are using the DesignPLUS toolbar. Let's go look at our modules page. This is just another Canvas site, except that it kind of acts like the repository where all information ends up being stored for our templates. Yes. And Priscilla has very helpfully put into the chat who to email when you have questions about getting one of these sites and who can administer them. It has all the information up here about how to use this site. And then what we're going to be focusing on for this talk is going to be this policy tool and this template content tool. And all of these pages are where they basically are templates. And we can take a look at them and look and see what that looks like. So we open up one of these and we can see that I have two different base templates. This is, like Matt was talking about, we have different types of courses. Online courses that are going to be asynchronous are online. OTG, which is on the ground courses. This is going to be the template for any course that has an actual meeting, whether it's virtual or in person. So you can see the only difference is that we have some extra class information here. So I have chosen to build our templates in two parts. This part goes up until this header right here with the school-wide syllabus. And then, sorry, I have built the policies under a different, or the school-wide syllabus under a different part of this called policies. Policies I used for several different reasons. The most important of which, though, is that in this policies template world, any changes that we make here on this Canvas site, this customization site, can then be pulled into wherever this template is used in other Canvas sites. So we will give an example of that, but I do want to first show you the toolbar. I'm going to hit edit. And if you're used to using Canvas, you have seen this before, your basic editing screen. But what you may have not looked at is this tiny little rocket ship over in the corner. That is DesignPLUS. So if you just kind of hover over it, it will pop out and you click once and then your toolbar will pop out. There is a way to make this stay open or open automatically under these three dots, user settings, and then you can do automatically launch sidebar, which is what I usually have active, but I'll keep it off for this demonstration. And then over here on the sidebar, we've got a couple of powerful tools. Obviously, I cannot cover everything about this. We're mainly focusing on our use of it for syllabus, but you can explore this under the little help here. There are tutorials. There's Rutgers Canvas support, there's Rutgers tutorials, there's City Labs tutorials. So all of this is here for you to explore. And if you hover over any of these, it will tell you what it is. So this one, that edit current element, is going to be wherever your mouse is over here. You can watch that toolbar change to show us what we are on. This also is a whole expander element, which is a type of accordion. And so this would control all of what this text is in here. So you could edit it over here. You can change the style of this to be a different look and feel. I'm going to leave it as it is, but if you just click on any of these, it will change it. And you can get a preview of what that looks like down here under preview. So there's a lot that it can do. And if you want to look under add new elements, I'm not going to add anything new to this page. This is our actual live policies page, so I don't want to screw anything up with it. But you can kind of look and see all the different things that you can add here, basic content like a button. So that would be what I use to make this little link, this button link. As you can see, it has some design to it, where if you mouse over it, it changes. You can do all of that when you add a button. There are different ways and styles of tables that you can put in. So it's not just your basic table. You can easily add a divider line. And then it goes on and on. Down here is that accordion that I use to build this whole expander here. This is the template content that we'll use when looking for templates. There are all sorts of things that I can't even begin to get into all of them. And a lot of them, some of them I don't even know because I haven't used them, and it just takes playing around with them. Even here, you can change your background. Lots and lots of tools here to use. So even if you're not using this customization site to create templates, you can still use this toolbar and all of these elements in whatever page that you are using or editing within Canvas. So it's not just templates. That's just what the focus of this talk is. Okay, so now let's look at an example of actually using these templates. So basically, after I've built them on these pages, there's template pages here and here. Now we will go to our blank syllabus page. So this is just say you're in a template and you needed to add this syllabus page. And I'm going to click edit. I'm going to make sure our toolbar is open and ready to go. And this will take about 3 clicks, maybe 4. I might have lied. 4 clicks, and we're going to have this page built. So yes, it does take time to set all those templates up in the beginning, but it has saved us so much time in the long run when we are building this. So with our toolbar open over here, the 2 things that we're going to use, like we talked about, template content and policy, because that's where these templates were built in our customization site. I'm going to click template, and it will give me our options down here. This is the one we were just looking at. It gives you a little preview if you just hover over any of these. And I'm going to click that. It adds it right to your page. Easy, easy. And now the second item to build our page is under policy. 1 click, find it here. It's the only policy that I've built, so it's the only one available. 1 click, and now it is in there. So the only things I would need to change here if I were building this, on a course site that we're using, is to add in the course title here and the course number, and change or put the link in for the course syllabus. The rest of this would be added by whoever is teaching this course that we copy into the live shells. And that's it. I'm going to click Update Syllabus, and it's done and ready to be used. I don't see anyone in the chat. I'm not sure if anyone has questions, but feel free to ask us anything as we go along. I know this is a lot of information. Now, the second part of this little demo is going to be showing you how we pull changes through. So say we are making a larger change to content in some of those universal policies. So what I'm going to do is go back over to our extended customization site where the base of this template lives. And I'm not going to do anything crazy. We're not going to change the attendance policy, Christine, don't worry. But what I will do is make an edit that will show how this would work in practice. So what I'm going to just do, is bold this. Obviously, this is a very minor change, but I could say change the entire mission of the School of Social Work, and the same thing would happen. But this is just a minor change to show you what will happen. So I'm going to click Save, and now our root template has changed. Just checking. Yep, it's still bold. Over here on this page that we just built using this template, right now it's going to be this. It doesn't have that bolding. Even if I refresh, nothing is going to pull through. So it's still like that. You do have to intentionally pull this. And some people might say, well, I wish it was automatic. So we actually don't wish it was automatic. And to get ahead of that, usually the changes that happen to syllabi or policies might happen in between semesters. So, but we don't want to change it. Very rarely do we want to change it mid-semester in the middle of everything, because that would affect courses that are already running and knowing what those policies are. So say we have a syllabus change that will take effect in fall 2025, but summer courses are still running, so we don't want to affect those. If this was automatic, we wouldn't be able to control that change being enacted in those summer courses. But we can then make sure that it is in all of the templates before we copy to the live sections for fall. So what we would simply do is hit edit. All importantly, make sure that the toolbar is active and hit update. And there it is. So you do have to intentionally go in and hit edit and update with the toolbar active, and that any changes made to this policies portion will be pulled through and now made active in those templates. So instead of, say, we were changing the entire social work mission, instead of having to then change it on every single syllabus page or every single Word document, we do one change and then click, and it pulls through. This isn't really a burden for us, and the reason we've chosen to do it this way is because we would be in these pages anyway to update this course syllabus. A lot of times readings may change, or there are other minor changes to the course syllabus, so we'd be in here anyway. So as long as we click edit and update, then the changes will pull through.
Becky, we do have one question that came in. Eliza is curious about how well our instructors at the School of Social Work, how well they know about using City Labs, and whether we've done a lot of training sessions for them.
So we haven't. I mean, Matt, if you want to take it, you can, or I can answer it.
Yeah, I was going to say, as Jackie was alluding to just then, the actual syllabus, here I can show my face again. The actual syllabus uploading in Canvas is something that's handled by the instructional design team. We get a Word document with syllabus updates as far as the content, but the actual uploading and managing the syllabus in Canvas is something that we do. So we haven't had to hold any training for the instructors, because for the most part, they don't need to know how to use City Labs in our model.
Yeah, our team, we really do control a lot of how the courses are built in Canvas, which a lot of our instructors tend to like. That, if they're full-time faculty or lecturers who are just teaching a course here or there, when they come to teach for us in any of their live sections, they log in and find that they have their course all set up and ready for them. So obviously they can make some changes and minor changes to things, but our course coordinators, which are all full-time faculty members, work with us to create those templates that we then copy into the live shells for anyone who's teaching with us. So they really don't have to do a ton in Canvas. We do a lot of that for them. And like Matt said earlier, we have that inbox where if they have any questions about Canvas, they can simply email us, and then we will help them do anything that they need to do. And they find that really helpful. So we do a lot of the heavy lifting on the Canvas side, so to make it easier for everyone. All right, so that kind of concludes my main demo for the day. Do we want to go back to PowerPoint unless anyone else has questions that I need to show things for? I guess we did have another question. I work for Blaustein part-time. So I don't know that about Blaustein. It depends on who is the instructional design team for Blaustein. If they have one, I'm sure they do. But it looks like that might have been answered too. So
yeah, taking care of that question.
Perfect. Great. I am going to stop my share then, and if Matt, you want to put the other one back up.
So the way we've measured success on this project, 3 different areas. We measured it for faculty and lecturers, for students, and then for instructional designers. So for faculty and lecturers, the course coordinators have less to keep track of in their syllabi. As Jackie was saying, basically they only have to focus on the content, updating readings, changing assignments. They don't no longer need to worry about policies or resources. That's something we can take care of. The administration can update those as needed, and then the instructional design team can implement those. Another benefit is that instructors are met with the same syllabus page throughout all the courses they teach. So much like we were talking about reducing the cognitive load for students, it also reduces the cognitive load for instructors. They know when they go into a Canvas site that their syllabus page is going to look the way it looks. They know that they can go to download their actual Word, the course-specific syllabus, make those updates they need to make, and then upload that so their students can share it. So it can be shared with their students. And no longer does anyone have to worry about the broken links as far as on the instructor or faculty side. That's now something we can use the link checker in Canvas for to make sure that they're up to date and working. Then we have successes for the students. As you can see, they're met with the clean, accessible syllabus page in all of their courses, thus reducing the cognitive load and ensuring they have access to all their resources. So you can imagine if you're a student in the social work program, you now know what your syllabus page is going to look like. It has a certain look and feel that you're accustomed to, so that when you come into the syllabus page, if you want to look at some of the resources or policies, they're there for you. And if you want to just dive right into your course content, that syllabus is there too. And then the successes for us as instructional designers, this is maybe where the successes are the most, I think. But we don't have to scroll through thousands of pages of Word documents each semester, fixing the same link over and over again. For example, one link that we noticed that had changed over the years was the contact for our subject specialist librarian at the libraries. That person is now a person that wasn't there before, but we found in our syllabi that person's name might not be correct. So that's something that we would have to look and scan every syllabus for in the past to make sure that the librarian was up to date. And that's just one of those policies and resources. You can imagine we have dozens. So contacts, links, language can vary between syllabi and syllabi. And that's something we don't have to worry about anymore. And then, as Jackie was demonstrating, it only takes 2 clicks to update. So it saved us so much time being able to update the policies and resources in one location, and then pushing that to each syllabi when we're going through and editing the syllabus page to get ready for the semester. And I don't think we explicitly said this. We do this updating in the template. So we only have to do it once for each actual course, not once for each section we're offering. Now I think our next slide is some of our resources or references that we used. And then I think we've got plenty of time for questions if we have some.
Yeah, this ended up being a little shorter than anticipated, but we're happy to answer any questions, chat with anyone about, how we've used DesignPLUS. I think some of the uses for other programs, you could build whole templates out for, a homepage. That's something we've thought about. We have a pretty standard homepage. But if we wanted to design it a little bit more, we could do that and then be able to just implement that across all of our courses to keep them all looking exactly the same. One other thing about the policies template, that tool that I did not mention that I did want to, is that if everyone else at the School of Social Work was using that toolbar, so some of the features of DesignPLUS require that the person accessing the page use DesignPLUS. So it does get a little tricky in there, in that policies should not be allowed to be edited. So if I were to go into that policies with the toolbar active and I'm not in the customization site anywhere where it's implemented, I literally cannot edit it. It won't allow me to even click anywhere in the text. Of course, if you're not using the toolbar, you can edit it. That is one of those weird things that the only way the DesignPLUS knows not to allow folks to edit it is if it knows where it's being pulled from. And the only way for it to know is to have the toolbar active. So, I think a fair question is to ask us would be, well, doesn't that mean your faculty or lecturers could edit it at will? And technically, yes, if they're not using the toolbar, they could edit it. We don't tend to have that as an issue because it's there to help them and to provide resources, not only for the students, but also to anyone who's teaching, especially first-time teachers, I know probably use those resources to see what is available to their students. So editing it or deleting it would not really serve any great purpose for anyone there. In addition, that link down at the bottom where that goes to that box file where the full document is, that one, you can't edit it. It's a PDF over there. So that one is kind of like what we would have in case of anything having been edited on an individual syllabus page. So that's kind of the gold standard over there as to what policies are for the whole entire school. I hope this was helpful.
Yeah, and in addition to questions, for those who answered the poll that they are using DesignPLUS, we'd be interested to know how people are using it across campus and at other institutions too.
Is there a Canvas syllabus template that you have designed with DesignPLUS? Yes. But do you also have Canvas course templates? So I think that I may get, I want to make sure I'm understanding the question properly, but template for an asynchronous or synchronous template. So in that, I think we mostly use formatting of Canvas and like what pages we include or don't include in modules. So for us, an asynchronous course would have more robust resources. They're going to have a lecture page with actual lecture videos. It's going to have fully built out discussion spaces and other activities that are asynchronous. Whereas our sync or in-person classes are just going to have a lot less on the actual Canvas site. And because more of that would be happening in the classroom or over Zoom for our sync online classes. I hope that answered that, Linda. Please tell me if that was confusing.
Yeah, we use the word template in a couple different areas and meanings.
Yes, that is true. Yes, when we say templates, template course sites, we really just mean all the activities and the whole course content built onto Canvas. That's to just distinguish it between a one that we have as a template that we use to make many copies of and a live course site. Sorry, that is a little bit of jargon that we should have been more clear about. Apologies.
Yeah, so we're able to use that single template, say for a course 500 ABC, social work ABC course 500. We have a template for that course, whereas Jackie was saying all the content is housed, and then that template is pushed out to sections 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to kind of reduce the amount of copying we would have to do.
Yes. Is there a learning curve? Probably, yes. I sometimes forget I've been using it for several years. So, and I've seen two different types of toolbars. I started on their old toolbar, which is now like the legacy toolbar, and now they have the new one. So yes, there is a bit of a learning curve, but I don't think it's completely, inaccessible. You've got those guides, like I showed you, with a little help where you can go find resources to learn about it. You're welcome to email me and chat more about it. You have our contact information on the slides that I'm sure they're going to be made available.
Yes. And also just a quick reminder that we're at 40 minutes, so we have exactly 10 minutes left.
Okay. Well, as you can see, we're kind of almost wrapped up. If in case anyone wanted to ask any more questions, though, you're welcome to do that, or I guess we can reclaim some time.
Thank you very much, Jackie and Matt, for sharing all of this wonderful work. And thank you, everybody who attended. We'll be sharing the resources from the presenters on Ring Central soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, so much.